Alright guys, I'm Nicky,
And I'm Francine.
and we're gonna share with you the craziest love story ever.
I'm from Brazil and I came to the United States in 2017 to spend a month. My last week, I really wanted to go to San Francisco to visit.
Because she thought San Francisco was gonna sink or be in a tsunami.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it is going to sink. San Francisco is going to sink, so guys, go visit San Francisco. Okay. But anyways, so I went there to visit and
I lived in San Francisco.
he lived in San Francisco. So one day I was walking at it was a Golden Gate Park, and I was so tired and my Uber wasn't working. So I had to ask my cousin Ricardo to request an Uber for me. I was waiting for the Uber to come, but the person who was driving the Uber, he was expecting a guy. So every time a car would pass, I would be like, oh, maybe that's the person. And it wasn't until it was. And I'm talking way too much now. Your turn.
So basically, I live in San Francisco. I stayed over at a friend's house. I stayed over actually at a girl's house this night who lived next to Golden Gate Park. And then I was getting an Uber from her house to my work, which I work at a Brazilian restaurant in downtown San Francisco. I got an Uber, but I got the pool because I was pretty broke and it was a lot cheaper to get the pool. So I got picked up thinking, oh, hopefully like, he's not going to pick anyone up. I'm already late, so I need to get to work soon. I got in the car and it was a really friendly old Asian man. We got to talking and he said we had to make another stop to pick up a Ricardo. I was like, damn it, like I'm gonna be late. So we went to Golden Gate Park to pick up Ricardo.
And that was me. So I get in the car and my trip was like literally falling to pieces. The whole trip was like a disaster. And I go in the car and I start complaining to the driver, like, I'm from Brazil and I take pictures of the places here, but there's like literally no one to take pictures of me. So I'm pretty pissed. I was in San Francisco for about a day and a half or 2 days already when I got there, when I got this Uber. And then the driver said that he's actually a photographer and that he could take me out to take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said that I'm from Brazil, then Nicholas looked and he said that he worked in a Brazilian restaurant.
Anyways, before she got in the car, me and the Uber driver, we were talking about his Instagram because he just mentioned that he took pictures and stuff. She got into the car and then she was saying how she needed somebody to take pictures for her. And he's like, oh, I'm a photographer, I can do that for you. And she said, well, I'm only here for the next, 3 days it was? And he's like, oh, well, we can go tomorrow. I can drive you around and take pictures for you. He's a really nice guy. And he did this professionally too. I mean, he's amateur, but he was just genuinely just trying to take pictures for her, And
It's because I'm pretty.
it's because she's pretty. And I can totally tell too that her accent was Brazilian Portuguese because I work in a Brazilian restaurant. I work with a lot of Brazilian people and I just totally could tell. So I mentioned it to her. I mentioned it to them that I worked in a restaurant, and she turned back at me and she looked at me and like surprised, and we started talking about, Brazilian foods, like street foods, pastel.
The moment that I look back, he was completely in love. That's her love story.
Yeah, I guess. I was playing it cool, all right. She's beautiful. She was a beautiful girl. When we got there, though, I was looking for Ricardo, so I had no idea that she was like walking up to the car, and I just didn't know why. And these helicopters are gonna pass by again. So 1 second.
This is Malibu. They're probably recording something. I don't know.
All right. So, anyways, we started driving to her destination, which was like the Galleria downtown. We started talking, and the Uber driver basically kind of invited me to come along, like jokingly, but He's like, yeah, you both of you should come. And my next 2 days were my days off, so it was perfect. It ended up working out because she was only there for 2 more days.
But before they dropped me off, the driver was like, why don't you guys exchange your numbers then so you can talk and see if you guys can go?
No, he said it to her.
Was
He
it?
said, maybe you should get his number.
Oh.
And that's
so
why I
it's on
gave him
me.
5 stars for that Uber.
I got his number, and right after I left the car, I was already voice texting him, which he never knew what it was.
Yeah, I never use voice text because I always
Yes.
just regular, you know,
And I was like,
text message.
I was so upset because the moment that I left the car to go to Galleria was closed.
Mhm.
And I was like, I had walked the whole day already, and I was so tired. So I was like, oh, sorry, I'm saying like a lot. So I got his phone, I got my phone, and I was texting him saying how it was closed and where should I go now, and etc. So he went to work, and at night we exchanged texts again, and on the other day we went out.
Yeah. So the next day, this guy was amazing, man. This Uber
It was
driver
really nice.
picked her up. I went down to the city. I met him downtown, or he picked me up first. This is all for free. This guy just wanted to genuinely like hang out and take pictures
Yeah.
and kind of set us up. I mean, I don't think maybe he's trying to set us up.
He probably. Maybe he saw we clicked.
Yeah. I hope he got all that PayPal money that I sent him. No, but he picked me up in downtown, picked her up, and we basically just hit the Golden Gate Bridge to take pictures of her.
The
Chrissy
Cree-
Fields, which is like a beach over there with a bunch of rocks you could take pictures on.
I'll show you. We can show the pictures afterwards. too.
Yeah, we can put them in here. And
Yeah.
in return, I took them out and got them food after, yeah. So the next 2 days, so that day we hung out. I took her out, and then at the end of the night we went to the Bay Bridge where the bridge is all lit up and it's nice and you can see the reflections on the water. He took pictures of her. I did have at the time a like prototype sweatshirt that I was trying to build a brand and like make sweatshirts. So she put the sweatshirt on and took pictures with that too. So I had some like cool model pictures of my sweatshirt. But yeah, we just couldn't get enough of each other. That first day was just so fun and light, and it just felt like everything was working out for us. And it was magical, It was
The
It was
next
great.
day, the next day, I always told him that I really wanted to go to Alcatraz, and it was so expensive and all sold out as well. And then his friend hooked him up with 2 free tickets.
Yeah, so we got lucky in that way too.
So we went to Alcatraz the other day. We went out to have fun the whole second day, the whole day, and then on the third day I had to leave. And so I went to the airport, and he told me that he wasn't gonna be able to make it, but he did. And we said our goodbyes, and it was so heartbreaking because I knew that I liked him. I knew that I liked him so bad that we were already talking about marriage. And
Yeah, I mentioned it like
yeah, we mentioned it, like saying I have texts to prove
being
that.
cute.
I have texts to prove. Like on the third day, he was already saying marry me already. I have the proof, and I think that's how it is when you really know that's the person for you. And then we're gonna tell her the rest of our story in another video. But now we're married, and here we are in Malibu, making this video.
So those were the first 2 days that we talked. Very, very into, I guess, serendipity, or I just have faith that you're in the right place at the right time. And this is one of those perfect examples. In later videos, we're going to talk about kind of like addiction and kind of deeper things about life. This is a very light video. This is how we met. But just being in that situation from even like where I was the night before, or like that year, or just the decisions I've made in my life that brought me to that one Uber that got in with her, it just makes like all of my past regrets and things that I just basically regret, it makes that all go away, because it's like I was in that situation when I was supposed to be in that situation to meet her, and
To be
and
away
now,
from me. and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, there's a lot to get into, but those are the first days we met. It was really cool.